Welcome to Monday Night Live, the weekly training that guides professionals to financial prosperity. Join our community and let's start building your wealth.
So welcome aboard, everybody, particularly all the new folks and the guests that are on tonight. I appreciate you guys being here. Okay, so let's see. Rodney Jefferson, I guess you're a guest. Rodney, did someone invite you to class, or did you just happen to see it online? If you don't mind sharing.
I saw it online and wanted to get the information, and I'm also going to be speaking with you tomorrow about possibly joining the agency.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
Yep.
Let's see. There you are. Yep.
Sorry, I'm
1:30
driving.
Eastern time. No, don't worry about it. I'm glad to have it. I'm glad you found us, and welcome aboard. You're welcome to participate, share, ask questions, just like anybody else, you know.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Welcome to the call, Rodney.
Thank you.
What's that?
You're welcome.
Oh,
Welcome,
thanks,
Rodney.
Karen. Yeah. Hey, does anybody have any questions or anything you'd like to cover before we jump into the main subject? Anything that's like a transaction related thing, client related, that's baffling you, stumping you, challenging you, or otherwise? If you do, you know, we can always do that later too, but I'd like to cover those things early if it's possible. So,
I've got one.
Question too.
okay.
Trevor, you can go first. Mine's a question, but go
Okay.
ahead.
I think mine will be short. So I have a new listing. It's 220, and that little price range is so hard for us here right now because it's that gap between rentals and ownership.
Yeah.
I'm just having a hard time. I mean, I put it up on Thursday, went live Friday. We had one showing, one over the weekend. So I know it's an old granny home and it needs some stuff, but it's in a really great neighborhood. The comps are between 2 and 240. I've got it set up to automatically decrease 5,000 every 2 weeks. I'm just wondering if anybody else has any, as a listing agent, thoughts on how to better market that to that audience. Because I mean, I get it. It's like, you know, let's say your payment is, I'm just going to throw numbers out here, $1,250 for a house, and you have $850 for rent, and the rent is an apartment's brand new, and it's all you know, and you're used to calling, hey, Mr. Maintenance Man. I get it. I mean, I wouldn't want to. But again, at the same time, it's like, well, do you want home ownership? Because I just got a new listing yesterday, actually, that'll be going live next week. And because they have so much equity in it, they're going to be able to cash out and get and save themselves from bankruptcy. I'm like, I'm so excited. This is why I do what I do. So
Yeah.
Two very different spectrums, but just wondered if anybody else had thoughts on the rental versus owner paradigm at this point.
Yep. Go ahead, Karen.
I was just going to say, you know, sometimes we have to get out of our own way, I think, Trevor. In other words, what I mean by that is like what we would do is not necessarily what somebody else would do. And so, so you're saying, hey, and I get it too, that, you know, somebody can have something brand new and not have to worry about the hassles, etc. But for those people who actually do have that American dream, like maybe let's not think about how we look at it. Let's put it out there how they might look at it. So I think it's a great opportunity, in other words, for somebody to get into a home for very little. You know, so if it is on the lower end of your pricing, it may just be a great opportunity for somebody to get in, make the house their own, you know, get in for a lesser price, et cetera, you know, just a thought.
Yeah, no, those are all the things I've been saying. Plus the, you know, interest rate is 100% in an apartment, you know, all the usuals. So yeah. I think I was just disappointed that it didn't get more showings.
Yeah, give it time.
So,
Yep. Trevor, is there any debt on the house now? What is the debt on the house? Sorry.
0. She's just a little granny in a nursing home. It wants to get to a better nursing home.
Okay. Well, it sounds like then it's going to have like an old kitchen. It's probably got older carpeting.
It does.
Stuff.
The
Okay.
appliances are all new, like the big ticket things, the roof and the HVAC and hot water are great.
Okay.
But it does need carpet, paint. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have it on, have you posted it on Facebook?
Oh my God, no, I have not done that yet.
Yeah, I would definitely do that. Another
Okay.
thing, man, I would walk through there with your camera on,
Yep.
and filming it
Yep.
and then load it right up to YouTube,
Okay.
So, because if you think about it, who's looking for that kind of house? And here's going to be the kicker for the owner. It's probably going to be an investor. They're going to be looking at that, licking their chops, thinking, "Man, if I could get in there and put a new kitchen and
Well,
paint it."
I got an offer for 125 from an investor I know. I was like, you're killing me with this.
Yeah, that's too
It's
low.
like, well, that's 30% minus the blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, must be nice to be y'all and still get,
Yeah,
all those numbers working for you.
Can I
Yeah.
ask a question?
Okay.
yeah. Hey, Manetta, how you doing?
Banana.
Hi, everybody. So Trevor, when I'm working with some clients where their house is really in bad condition, I use companies to have the place completely renovated and then put it on the market. And then if they can pay like, they renovate up front and they get paid on the back end. So the
Well,
nicer the house looks,
yeah.
the more it usually will sell over asking. I've done that a number of times.
Yeah,
And
we're trying to get people here to do that, but our contractors here, and I've talked with Tim Luke about this in depth. They ask for money before they even get here. They're horrible. They have no business skills whatsoever.
is Kirby in your area?
That's what I was gonna ask too, is
Curbio.
Curbio.
Curbio in your area?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I just got an email from them today, as a matter of fact. So
And the kicker
they're
on the house
around.
is she doesn't have access to anything. She has no idea where her bank account.
Curbio will do it with no, as long as I'm not, she has, she can do some equity after the renovation. They require nothing up front.
Right.
Yeah, but
Everything's taken at closing.
Okay.
you're right, but they're not everywhere. I mean,
Yeah,
here in
they're definitely
Virginia,
not here.
they're only in the Richmond area.
Yeah.
Maybe Northern Virginia now too, but not anywhere near me.
They're in Texas too. Trevor, can you send me the address? There's a new company that has recently started launching on a franchise basis. It's called RIA. One of the things I don't like Curbio for is because Curbio basically charges basically profits from overcharging you on their contract price. So if, for example, a contract could be a 20K project, for example, they have all the incentive possible to basically go up to 50. That's how they typically make their profit. But re-up is designed to be slightly different in a sense that re-up fronts the cost to you at cost. They completely do the renovation. They don't charge you up front. They instead do equity partnership with you, basically. So if, for example, the as-is value is 100 and the after repair value is 200, the 100 that's left between that, they'll have that with you at the end. So they have all of the incentives to only recommend the necessary repairs that are proven to basically add value to the home.
Right.
And they don't upcharge you on the contract price. I do know of a couple of guys at the Curbio, at the re-up corporate level. So if you can send me the address, Trevor, I can check in with them to see if there's anyone out on that side
I
who's
just put
willing
it
to
in the
take on the
chat.
project. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
So, sorry, it's the second one. I goofed up on the first one.
No worries. No worries.
Oh.
Okay.
So,
And also, if she's able to, Trevor, maybe she could do some things like a rent to own rather than flat out selling now where she holds the contract.
Yeah.
seller financing.
Yeah.
Another,
But she's already in a nursing home though. That's the thing. She's
Yeah.
already nursing
Who
there.
needs the money?
Guys, her
Yeah.
mind is already, I can't,
Yeah.
I barely got through the contract this way.
In
She doesn't have
Yeah.
any
addition to-
in her corner. Everything that she owns is going to go to Goodwill. I mean, it's a sad kind of deal.
in
Is there an
addition-
executor?
Does she have any relatives?
She has one son that she doesn't talk to.
Oh,
Yeah. And I've tried to get them. So the house, ironically, is two houses up for me. And I've tried to get the son on the phone, and the neighbors in between us have tried to get him on the phone, and he just wants his wife apparently and her are oil and water, and they don't want anything to do with each other. Nothing.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
Trevor,
Yeah,
did you put it on Craigslist at all?
No. Craigslist is so
No.
scammy here.
It's what?
So scammy here. As soon as I put a listing out, it goes on Craigslist as a rental.
Yeah, because sometimes you have luck with that too, depending.
No, I'll certainly throw it out there everywhere I can. No, and I appreciate it. I feel like in some ways, we're having to kind of pick back our bag of tricks. We got used to listings just flying, and I was so bad. I put one photo up of the exterior and let it sell in a day.
Yeah.
And now it's
Hey,
like,
Trevor.
I do need to Facebook. I do need to put it on Craigslist. Yeah. Yes,
You,
Gary.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna give you
Julio,
probably
or
a silver bullet that I hope would help, and
Chris?
it's a painful one.
Yeah.
Instead of doing the $5,000 drops, is it spaced out bi-weekly, or how are they timed?
Yeah, every
Aren't they?
2 weeks.
Okay. All right. Because of where the market you're in, and I'm gonna let Juan talk too, because your market, even though she's in Arkansas, your markets are very similar
Mhm.
as far as price and all that goes. But if you were to drop it down to 199, I know it sounds corny, but the thing is you would pick up so much more market share, because that $200,000 market is a massive breaking point in searching. If you look at the searches that people put out there, like it's a huge, you drop off when you go above 200. That's a major drop off in market share. So for a 10% drop right out of the gate, you probably won't have to do any price drops. I mean, I obviously, like anything, I could be wrong, but knowing what I know about the searching dynamics, that's a major cutoff. So you're missing all the people that are searching up to 200, and that is a huge. That's the biggest market.
Right. Okay. Well,
What
we'll
do you
be
think?
soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, but did you had something else also you were mentioning?
I was gonna say that Curbio, I didn't have that experience with Curbio. I have another contractor that I've worked with for years to renovate other houses for me. And when I had a an investor that I had contacted. He has a rental here in Woodbridge, and I had them to do both of them to do give me a quote for renovation, and they were within $2,000 of each other. So I didn't have the experience where Curbio was way over the left. What I didn't like about Curbio was how much time it was going to take. They were talking about months, and I was like, no, we don't want to be months to get on the market to get a renovation done. They were talking about depend on their contract availability. I was like, so that was the one thing that disturbed me with Kirby was the length of time it was going to take to get the stuff done. But price wise, it was compatible and competitive to the other company that I've been using for years.
Oh,
Yeah. Hey, by the way, Juan, I want to go to you next, and then just so we'll get to Juan, since I mentioned your name. Looks like you got your hand raised too there.
Hi, I am Yvonne, and Jawan recruited me to join the group.
Oh, okay.
I joined EXP GIA, your team, GIA team, and
Yeah, how you doing, Yvonne?
hi, and she told me to go to the meeting today because I thought y'all had a meeting last Monday, but y'all didn't because the holiday. So I'm just here and just getting the feel of everything and see what is possible. What can I do in being because I just got my license in January, so
Okay.
I'm new. So
Well, you're good. Are you also in the same area as Juan?
no, I'm in Orlando, Florida.
That's right. Okay. All right. I tell you what. I got a referral coming your way.
Okay.
well,
Yeah.
dang.
If you could, I'll shoot it over to you when we're finished class.
All right.
If you could do me a favor, Yvonne, is in the chat box, you can type in, I know I could find it, but to save time, give me your number and your email and I'll do a
Okay.
direct contact. Yeah.
That's a heck of a way to greet her to
Yeah.
the team. I love it.
It literally right before I started class, I couldn't even get back to her. It was Anna. You guys, some of you know Anna Jenkins. She and her husband Rick are down in Florida and big investors and awesome friends. They actually taught a class for us one time. So, all right, welcome aboard, Yvonne.
Thank you. Oh, my phone, type too fast.
There it is. I see it. Yep. Oh, you're missing them. Okay.
Yeah, I typed too fast.
I see it.
There we go.
Okay. And then Giselle, welcome back. I hope you're feeling well.
Thank
know you had
you.
Yeah. How are you?
Yeah, I'm finally doing better. I got food poisoning this past week, so I was down again. But now
Oh,
I'm
no.
back. Yeah. I wanted to say I know a cash buyer investor who buys. Trevor, would you share with me your number or in the chat? And then we can sit in that area.
That'd be awesome. Okay. Okay, I
Yes.
think we're
Yes,
good on that
and
one.
the address is
Mhm.
the address is the one you posted, right, on the chat?
There we go.
The second address. Yeah.
Is it
The second
37?
address.
The second address. Okay,
Yep,
got it. Okay,
3703. Yep.
awesome. All right.
Thank
And
you.
I'll text you to connect. And your phone number, okay, is the 918. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Giselle. Appreciate it.
You're
Appreciate all
welcome.
your help very much.
Absolutely.
You got it. Okay, Kathy, you had something also?
Yes. I actually texted Rob just before class started, but I thought I would throw it out here too. I have somebody who is in process of getting their license and they're going to join our team and EXP. Amanda Andreone that you met with.
Okay.
And she has property at her own home that she's going to split off and sell to the neighbor. And I told her today that I thought that it might be to her advantage to wait until she's actually a legitimate realtor and do it then. And I think I'm correct with that. And Rob seems to agree, but I just wanted to throw out that here because that would kind of give her the practice of going through the whole thing with the support of the team and everything else. And kind of have her right off the bat with the sale, so to speak, even though it's her own.
Yeah. Well,
That's a good
I don't want to
idea.
mention any names, but I know a really good guy whose initials are Rob Lane. And he
Mm-hmm.
can,
And that's who I sent a text to.
and literally right down the road. You could be any better than that. So, okay.
Right.
To be able to get ownership of the company on our first deal, right?
Right.
Plus-
That's what I was thinking.
And because it's their own transaction, you can do 3 transactions per year in your own name and your own company name and only pay EXP $315. That's it.
Right.
Darn it,
So-
Andre, you just
I
cut my
thought we
salad.
could
No,
do
just kidding.
4. Did it change?
It's always been 3.
Okay, then I'm just wrong. All right.
No, actually, Kathy, when we first started the team, the team made it 4, but we had to change the agreement to make it to match EXP.
Oh, I
So
see.
it's just
Okay.
3, but there's no restrictions it was like 1 personal home and 3 investments. But now it's just 3 are your own properties. You know, as long as I think you just have your name on a title, either you're buying or selling, and that's how it works, you know.
Right. Okay.
Well, congratulations.
Well, she's getting closer.
Okay.
So I think it's not going to be very long and she'll actually sit for her exam. So
Okay. Nice. By the way, thanks for the zucchini bread and the cookies.
did you get some?
Yeah, my brother ate, half of it. My mom ate a little bit, and I got. Thankfully, I came in and saw a little bit left, so I grabbed it real quick.
Well, I appreciate you guys eat it, so I didn't have to.
Yeah, that was good. I appreciate it. So
No problem.
okay,
Thank you.
okay, guys. Thank you. You guys ready to get started on tonight's subject? If you do have other questions,
Wait, Gary, I want to share something with you. So you know,
okay.
one of those ads on Indeed, right? So I
Yep.
had somebody in another country reach out to me,
Mhm.
and it's a country that we're not currently in.
Mhm.
So I went to the global area, the global EXP global. Nobody was there. I was kind of disappointed because it says they're there till 11 o'clock EXP time and nobody was there. So I sent them an email, so I'm waiting to hear back from them. So I'm going to schedule a Zoom call meeting with this gentleman, and I talked to him on WhatsApp. I always want to call it WhatsApp app, but the
Yeah.
WhatsApp. I talked to him over the weekend, so it was a really nice conversation. So maybe we'll open up not just another agent, but maybe we'll help to open up another country.
Yeah, well, you know what, Sagar, this is really important. Thanks, Bonetta, for sharing too. This is an important message because EXP is growing so rapidly worldwide. If you do make contact with someone and they're in a country that's currently not under the EXP global umbrella, you have to register. You have to put your name in with that country, so that if and when EXP gets to it, you get to be sort of like the parent of that state. I'm sorry, that country. And there's a lot of benefits to doing that. Let me tell you. I mean, it's like everybody that comes in underneath there is, if I understand things correctly, they're all in your downline. So for example, I've got Lebanon. It's
Really?
way down the totem pole, but I've got it. So when they start, I've got a broker out there already with their own company, and she's patiently waiting. So the other option is, if they do want to, they can get a license in the States. You know, it can be very difficult for them to operate, but they can at least generate some referral income, you know?
So how do you do that where you register before it's, even up in that country? How does that happen?
They'll tell you. I can't remember what the process has been, like 2 years, but they'll tell you what that is, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Who will tell you what that is? Because I had somebody from a totally different country reach out to me as well.
Yeah. The group that Bonetta's talking about, I went onto the world one time, and same thing, like nobody was ghost town, but I saw him at the next conference. It was like a few weeks later. So in fact, I'm going to the conference in 3 weeks or something. So if you guys want to, as long as you tell me what they are, I can visit them pertinently. They'll have a booth set up. I can submit your information for you if you like, if you can't get a hold of anybody, you know?
Yeah, I sent them an email because I went back to the information desk, and they said to go to, where did they say to go? EXP Care, Expert Care. They advised me to go there. And then I talked to a lady there, and she gave me the email. It was hello@expglobal.net is where she said,
Okay.
send email to reach out to them. So I sent that earlier, but I haven't heard from anybody yet.
Okay.
And I have a quick question too. I mean, with other countries, this works. I assume this also works, like if we had somebody in Canada we recruited.
Sorry, say that again now. Yeah, if you already had somebody, you could kind of repeat that, Karen, if you don't mind.
Well, I assume that also works because I think everything's separate with Canada, but does this also work the same way? Like, I know we're already in Canada, but does this work like if we recruit somebody in Canada, can we still sign them up under us, even though it's a separate?
Yes.
EXP is separate for Canada?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Andre's got half the country. He's got half of Canada underneath.
Well,
him.
I figured Andre was that, but yeah, I know people obviously in Canada too, because I'm from Canada. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you can definitely, just like the States, you can, or any of the countries, they just name you as sponsor.
Yeah.
And away you go.
Okay, just curious.
Yep. And we can put them on our team, Karen, if you like. I remember I lived up there and I taught at all the offices in Quebec and Montreal and Ottawa and Toronto, all over Ontario, the whole province. Probably close to 100 classes over those years. And so we had to redo some of the material just for those different provinces in Canada.
Yeah, it's that some of my good friends aren't realtors, right?
And Canada is really just taken off, really growing. I mean, I think they have what, 7,000 people. So it's like what the US was, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 5 years ago,
Yep.
6 years, actually about 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, if you can get some good people in Canada, I probably attracted 5 or 6, 7 agents at the most in Canada. And between all of those guys and girls, I have over 650 in Canada because of them. And they're really starting to just really take off.
Yep.
So when you reach out to that hello@expglobal.net, what do you say? You just say that you have an agent interested in joining that is in a country that we're not currently in, or?
Start like that. Let them know. They'll know because they have you can actually Google it. You can see which countries we're in, but they have it all. They know which ones are already in the hopper and who's that going to be that country sponsor. So hopefully you'll have a country that somebody else hasn't already introduced,
Okay.
But they should be able to tell you that. Yeah.
And to open up a new country, I mean, there's a lot to it, but if you have an independent broker owner, somebody that's an influential in that country and pretty well known, and if they have a couple of hundred agents in their brokerage, that's ideal. They're probably not going to open up a new country because one guy that's selling 20 homes a year, right? But if you have an influential person that's well known and well respected, and if they do have their own independent, that's a really great start. They don't have to, but that's a really good start.
Yeah.
And then there's a website, I don't know exactly what that is, where I think Gary's talking about that you can go on that site and register, that country and that person or whatever. But I'll look up the girl's name. I forget. I'll look it up in workplace, but I always I don't go to Michael Valdez directly, but there's a couple of people underneath him, and I just workplace chat them and say, hey, I have someone that's interested, and kind of share their info. And I've set up 2 or 3 separate Zooms with her. I think she's like one of the VPs of global, and she'll have a exploratory conversation with them to see if it's it could be a fit. Kind of starts there.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Well, thanks everybody for sharing. Definitely we're as usual, we're an active group. I always tell people to come and want to teach our group, get ready because it's active. So, okay, let me jump into the main subject tonight, and then it actually won't take that long. And I want to have time for Trevor to talk about Google AdWords, because both are the kind of things that can help you get listings, right? Get business in general. So, all right. So unsolicited offer, basically what it is, it's literally just like it sounds. It's you and I as real estate agents making an offer on behalf of a buyer client that we already have to an owner of a property that, as far as we can tell, is not currently advertising or in any way, shape, or form looking like they're selling their property. Okay. So big lesson number 1 is just because a property is not currently advertised for sale doesn't mean the owner might not want to sell. And the way we learned this is from investing. It was a technique I learned in the commercial world, where people were making unsolicited offers on commercial properties. This was back when the commercial business was almost like it is right now in residential, where we have not a lot of inventory for sale. We have lots of houses, but they're not all advertised for sale. Statistically speaking, it's one of the lowest volume timeframes we've ever had. But that doesn't spell gloom and doom, it spells opportunity. For the people who are really creative thinkers and innovators, it's a great opportunity to stand out from the crowd and set yourself apart. So this is where it came from. So who here remembers a guy named Joe Chawansky? He's an old client of mine, became a good friend, and I taught him how to invest. And he had this big building in an area called Bellevue outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where someone out of the blue, an agent, contacted him and said he had a buyer who was really interested in his property. Does anybody remember that? It's probably probably maybe May or June of 2021, something like that. Okay, so what that agent did is what I'm talking about. He contacted Joe directly and said, hey, Joe, I know your property is not currently for sale, but I have a client coming in from out of town who really wants to buy in the Western Pennsylvania area. And I did some research and saw that you got a pretty darn nice property and you got a good deal on it. And Joe said right away, I'm not really interested in selling. The guy called back and he said, look, the guy, it's real. This is not a lead in to, a bait and switch technique. I really have a real client who really is landing later today. And he keeps pointing out your property. Would you mind if I just showed him some of the units, if there's any vacancies, so he can see what the inventory is like in the area? And Joe said, sure. So they met him over there, let him go through. Joe gave him the keys and said, just call me when you're done. And later that night, Joe receives an offer. And Joe called the realtor and said, look, I appreciate what you're doing. I'm just not interested in selling. And the realtor said, I understand, no harm, no foul. We thought we'd at least try. Well, the next day, they came back with a much higher offer. And what did Joe do then? He said, heck yeah, show me the money. Let's go to closing table. Joe, I mean, it was a building I would have encouraged Joe to keep, quite frankly, but he made a killing on it. I mean, it's just ridiculous, the numbers. But kudos to that agent who got to pull the deal out of thin air. He made that whole thing happen purely and simply for his own volition, operating from scratch. I mean, he had nothing. He didn't have a baseball, he didn't have a bat, he didn't have a glove, operating from scratch. And sometimes that's what it takes. And guys, this is one of those markets. Okay, that's why I want to go over this technique. So what we did is we took that and brought it down to the residential world. Residential being 4 units. See, I held up 5 fingers and I said 4. I never was good at science. I guess I'll stick to my day job. But in any case, 4 units and below is residential. So we started doing that with the smaller properties, right? And also properties we thought would make good flips. And at first we stumbled and fumbled, and then we kind of built a system out of it and made it work. And it worked really, really well. So he had a, just I was asking, yes, so he had a buyer. So this is really, really important. Okay. This technique works when you actually do have a buyer. You don't want to try to fool anybody because, man, your reputation will be tarnished. Your reputation is everything. Okay. So that's why we always talk so much about putting your contacts on your database, right? Even if they're your friends, neighbors, relatives, put them on there. I know when we're on you, and I did the same thing. I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to quote unquote bother the people that were closest to me. I didn't want to kind of change the dynamic of the relationship. Turns out you don't have to. You don't have to change the dynamic of the relationship. Think about it. They work somewhere, they have a job, or they own a business, right? And usually when you meet somebody, by the way, here's a good question for you. Whenever you meet somebody new, like at a Christmas party or a restaurant, bar, whatever, concert, what's usually one of the first 3 questions you ask them? Just shout it out.
What do you do for work?
What do you do? What do you do? So what you do is you help people buy and sell houses. And if you're really on your game, I'm going to do a test here. Where's Hannah? Hey, Hannah, are you able to talk? I know you might be with your daughter.
Hey, I can talk.
Okay, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you, Gary?
Pretty good. So, when somebody asks us what we do, instead of saying, "Well, I'm a real estate agent," what's another thing we can say that's related to investing?
You could say that you're an investor agent,
Yep. And you
or
help
more
people
specifically, a global investor agent.
yeah, and you help people make money with real estate.
Buying and selling real estate. Yep.
Yep. So you think that would be a good attention grabber if you said that? I help people make
Absolutely.
money. Damn right. Oh, excuse me. Darn right. That's so. So I would use that, guys, and don't be shy. And remember, this is another big lesson one of my early mentors taught me. Is he said, look, don't think of it in terms of you wanting to help your Uncle Bob buy or sell a property. And I get it. Sometimes it's a little bit awkward. You don't feel comfortable doing it. But who might Uncle Bob know that might want to invest in a duplex or flip a home? See what I'm saying? So this is why you include your sphere in your database and your marketing. And you just tell them, this is what I used to do, guys. I said, look, I'm not suggesting you buy or sell a property. but you may know somebody. I just want you to know that I'm training to be an investor agent, right? I'm learning marketing techniques that speak specifically to investors, right? The wide open market. And then the people that really do love you, your friends, neighbors, and relatives, do you think they would rather see you struggle or would they rather help you succeed? Most of them would help you succeed. So let them do it. Let them do it by helping them out, by letting them know what you're doing, right? Include them in your sphere. And all you got to do, honestly, is just let them know what you're doing at the Christmas party. You could turn them on to a monthly market update. So you know what? I'm not trying to sell anything. I just want to practice what I'm doing. Can I send you a market update every month? Now, here's what I know about that is, yeah, they might not be interested in buying or selling, but they're going to get a market update every month from you that's automated, totally free. It creates front of mind presence in their mind. Your name sticks in the front of their mind and in their heart on a regular basis. So when they come across somebody who wants to buy or sell a property, they're going to think of you. That's how it works. That's why you do it. Okay, everybody cool on that? Any questions on what I just described there? Kind of a real critical lesson there in this business because we've all gone through it, right?
I have a question.
Okay.
I have a lot of people that are in my sphere that are not anywhere near me. So they're in a totally different market. Will EXP's KV Core adjust to their market or is it going to just do mine?
Yeah, it's only going to work where your MLS is, the automated one on KV Core.
That's what I thought.
What you can do is, if you want to, it's a little bit of a manual process. You could send something to people in other parts of the country. Like if you create a booklet, keep it real simple. Like don't put properties in there. Make it so it's actually, you know what you could do? You could clone the newsletter that we create, Kathy. It's the one. Did you guys know the newsletter we have is called the Monthly Profit Booster? Was not intended for us to bring in business. It was intended to be a prototype or a model for you to copy. We have the rights, even though we use a third-party vendor, we have it in writing that everybody on our team can use that newsletter for their own purposes. And we do have a couple of agents to do that. So Kathy, you could do that. And what that is, it's more of a national scale thing, but it has human interest stuff in there, trivia, all kinds of neat things that are attention getters. What you could do is, if you want to, is just monthly Google this real estate stats for whatever it is, Madison, Wisconsin, for example, but there's a little bit of work, but I don't know any other way to automate that. Unless you could get on, here's something you could do. In all those markets where you have friends or relatives or, that are not in your MLS area, what if you hooked yourself up with an agent in that area to set you up on a monthly market update? Then you could copy that or forward it to your contacts out there automatically, something like that. But at a minimum, the newsletter, that's easy. I mean, it's sometimes it's got recipes in there, travel tips, things like that. It's obviously real estate focused, but it's at a high enough level, it'll apply to every market,
Okay.
So, yep.
That's an idea. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good question. So
Just ahead.
back to the class. Oh, go ahead, Andre. Yeah.
I was going to say for Catherine, if you wanted, because I had an agent that kind of served two separate markets and two separate states, you can get a separate, I mean, there's a small cost to it, a monthly cost to it, but you can get another add-on to KV Core. And it's not really that much more money per month and add on a whole nother market and have a separate KV Core. It's I don't know the number, don't quote me, but it's $25 a month or 30 or something.
Wow. If it's only that, that's worth checking into.
I don't think it's a whole lot. So yeah, check into it.
All right. Thanks.
Pretty cool.
Hey, Gary, I'm interested in how to market, how to put that newsletter on my website. I'm not on my website, I have a Facebook page just for investors. And so I flip the flip book out there, but I haven't got anything. But I don't know what happened.
Okay.
But anyway, that's something I've been trying to figure out. What did I do? I don't know what I did.
Okay. I'm going to go to the website now. I think the newsletter is inside the members area, if I'm not mistaken. We're going to find out here in a second.
That's where it was before.
Well, that's doing that. Yeah, sorry, it's a little bit slow, but while that's loading up, guys, I'll keep going with the subject. So the key is to have buyers already. Now, they don't have to be, necessarily pre-approved. It would help if they were, or even pre-qualified. Remember, pre-qualification means that's the light version, like a lender did a not a full-blown credit report on them, but the kind that doesn't ding their credit, and it's like it's like an informal nod that yes, this person, based on what they told us, will qualify for a loan. Pre-approval is they actually did run the numbers and they didn't approve them for a loan, they pre-approved them, and they ran the credit. So, any case, so real quick caveat here, guys. Here on the website, right on the newsletter, click on newsletter, and you can get all the newsletters we've ever had. There's a newsletter archive. So September's out there. Click on that, and then what you can do is
whoa, look at that guy.
Yep, you can highlight all this. Yep, look at that, Kai Zhang, GIA Agent Showcase. Kai's a rock star, guys. If you ever get a chance to talk, just call him up sometime or email him or text him. He's active, he's successful, and he's a pretty darn good guy. But in any case, you can just copy all this by highlighting it and copying it, put it into a Word doc, and then cut out my information. You can still call it Monthly Profit Booster if you want, but make sure it has your name and your I hate that picture. Your name and number and your website, not mine. This is meant for you to use. You don't want to promote. I mean, if you promote me, that's great. It's really intended for you to promote you. So if you want to do that, literally just highlight it just like that, scroll all the way down, copy the whole thing, and put it into a Word doc, and then you should be able to edit it. And I wouldn't change really any of the content, but I would definitely change the contact information. That's for sure. Does that help, Annetta? Yeah, because otherwise you got to pay a company, whatever it is per month to do it for you, and you don't have to do it. Just use this, and that should work for you.
Gary, if you copy and paste that text into a Word document, does it bring the hyperlinks with it? Because I noticed
That's a good question. I would have to test that.
It does, because I have you remember, Gary, I was redoing this, sending this out to my database. And I copied and pasted most of them, changed the header and all that. And the links did come with it because I tested them to make sure.
Oh, good.
That's awesome.
Come out.
Okay, cool. All right. So in any case, with your database, you could always do a survey. You could send out something like the newsletter. You could you could do a booklet showcasing flips in the area and send it to the whole database and ask them and say, look, have you ever considered flipping a home or buying a duplex, something like that, something simple. The people that respond to you, right, and say, wave their hand, yep, I'd be interested in flipping a home or buying a duplex. That's who you need. So you talk to them, obviously. This is off the subject, but it's necessary to discuss this, especially for the new folks. Did you know that you can participate in class every Monday? We call it Monday Night Live, 7 p.m. Eastern, with me and dozens of other investor agents from around the country, in fact, the world. Every Monday, totally free. No selling, no recruiting, just straight up education on anything and everything in real estate. And we have a lot of good guests coming on once or twice a month, bringing in expertise on subjects like how to buy a house with crypto. Okay. How about them apples? What about AI? How's AI affecting our business? How about the metaverse, blockchain processing? We're already using it in title work. So come on to Monday Night Live, be ready to take notes and ask questions because it's live and engaging, and you get to participate by asking questions and meeting others. So we'll see you there. Go to realestateWithGaryWilson.com, click on the resource tab, drop down, and you'll see Monday Night Live. And in there, you can see one of the most recent classes. But more importantly, you can register for class as many as you want going up to like the end of the year, I believe. So in any case, do that. We'll see you on Monday Night Live. Look forward to meeting you in person. Take care. The buyers are usually easier to get and attract than the sellers. It's just historically been the case with the business. every person out there will tell you in real estate, you always start with listings. And I agree. The business does start with listings from a transaction standpoint. Because if nobody's selling anything, there's nothing for anybody to buy, right? However, from a production perspective, I'm going to tell you from firsthand experience, it is easier to start out attracting buyers initially. And right now, the market is clearly a seller's market, which means there's lower supply and higher demand. So the demand is your buyers. That means it's easier to find the buyers. There's more buyers than there are sellers. So if you're just starting out, I know I've got some of you working heavy duty on listings. In fact, I've got all of you working on listings, but some of you I do have spending part of your time focusing on buyers. And one of the reasons is I know that these techniques are out here for us to use. And like the letter campaign, using that letter, letter, works when you have buyers. If you don't have buyers, technically you should take the line out that says, and I have a client like Mr. Metajasic, you should take that out and only put in their name of somebody you actually know is interested in buying. Then you can use that letter. Now back to this, the same thing with this unsolicited offer technique. You want to make sure you have somebody in your database that has said, yes, hey, I'm interested in buying. I want to buy something. Okay. Now, when you talk to them, you could tell them, say, look, it's pretty tough out there. I'm sure you've heard or seen. It's hard to find a lot of properties for sale right now. So it's competitive. People are making multiple offers and so forth. Tell them, say, look, I have a technique. This you can tell your buyers verbatim. This is total disclosure. Say, I have a technique that I've learned to use where I can make offers directly to owners without their properties being advertised for sale, which means you, the buyer, can get in on a property without competing with all those other people. Would that interest you? And a lot of people would say, heck yeah, it does, especially if they got beat out, making offers on properties and kept getting outbidded. Or investors. How many of you think investors love to have off-market deals? They all do. They all want off-market deals. So that's what I'm saying, that this technique started off with the investors, because we knew they would all want these types of properties. Now, when you write the offer, let's just talk about the offer. Obviously, you're making an offer on someone else's behalf, sight unseen. They have not seen the property. Chances are you haven't seen it. And that's okay because you build in contingencies, at least the one that the buyer reserves the right to view the property upon offer acceptance and before paying for inspections and appraisals and so forth. So that's something critical. And that you need to put that in writing. So everybody, if you could please make a note of that. When you use an unsolicited offer, make sure you put that as the first contingency. The buyer reserves the right to review the property upon offer acceptance and before inspections and appraisals. Okay, for any money spent. So that way your buyer can go through and say, yeah, I'm good. Let's keep going forward with this. Then you can do the inspections and appraisals. So let me do a quick pause here. Does anyone have any questions so far? Has anyone used this before? Let's ask that question. Has anybody use an unsolicited offer before? You have, Annetta? Awesome, Karen. Yeah.
I have a letter. There was a coach that I have, and I have a letter that we send out. I have a client right now, a buyer client. He wants to live in Alexandria. And so we had an offer last week on a house, and for a piddly thing, he decided to pull out at the last minute. There were no other houses in Alexandria, but prior to that, we had looked at some other houses there. So I have learned from this coach that I sent letters to a community that he's interested in. I sent out 42 letters to this community. And I got really excited because a lady called me back, said, oh, so I got excited. I was like, oh, this really works. She called me to tell me that she wasn't interested in selling her property. That's okay. So, but the letter was working. They were receiving it, and so I know at least one lady, I know at least one person, I know they got it because I had done all that. The other thing that I'm doing, Gary, in lieu of, since there's not enough housing on the market, is I started looking at expireds. My client, there was one, like I said, there's one house in Alexandria, and he let it go. That's on him. But to not lose him, I looked at all the expireds in Alexandria, and I came up with 49 expired listings. So I sent them to him, all 49. I said, I want you to go through this list and I want you to tell me which ones you like. And then I'm going to do some research. I'm going to find out, one, if they've been relisted, two, if they're still interested in selling. And then I would do the off-market contact so that, they won't be in a competition. And so I'm still waiting on him to send me that, but that's another story. But anyway, so those are two things that I'm doing to help my buyer because the inventory is so low, letters and expires.
Okay.
But I do have a question for this.
Okay.
But it's still related to what we're talking about. And that is, I have all of these off-market, these wholesalers, they're sending me, hey, I got this house for sale and all of this. And I have a website. I want to know, can I post it? I'm not talking about the address because I know we can't advertise the address because I don't have it's an off-market deal. But I want to know, can I advertise that just, with some information about that? So to attract some buyers to me. So
yeah, if it's not an actively listed property, somebody's just selling it off market, you can't provide the address information.
And I don't want to go around me.
Right. Yeah. So plus none of us can actively sell a property or engage in activities to sell a property without the owner's permission. So, but technically it's already under contract with a wholesaler, right? And that person, the owner, gave the wholesaler the right to find another buyer who has signed the contract. Well, all you're doing is you're helping the cause. That's all you're doing. Just have to be very careful. If the seller sees that you put it out there online, technically they can file a complaint. But all you got to do is show that the wholesaler was already doing that because they had it under agreement to do that. I've never seen it happen, but that's the one caution that I would throw to the wind, that's a possibility. I've just never seen that happen. So the answer is, yeah, I would, if you think you can get a deal out of it and you have some buyers that may be interested in something like that, go for it.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, Karen.
So you're going to laugh at this one. So, because it's kind of a long time coming. So I used to actually go, I had a lot of gas station, clients and customers years ago. So I would actually stop at almost every gas station I'd go by, and I'd go in and ask, to speak with the owner. So a lot of times I would say I had, I have clients who are looking to buy gas stations, your gas station. And so anyway, so I used to do it like all the time. And I actually did get, people who were willing, and I was able to show their properties to some of my clients, right? So they were interested in selling. Now, some people would be like, well, I don't know about right now, but everything's for sale at the right price, right? So I'd get that a lot. Okay. And I think I even brought that up to you recently, but you're going to laugh at this one because I did the same thing with a guy who had a beer store, right? Because somebody wanted a beer store. And so it was about 7 years ago. And it was about a month ago, he called me up. And I've actually kept in contact here and there with him because I'll stop in, right? And he called me up and said, Karen, I think I'm ready to sell. So I've actually seen him recently, and it was from dropping in all those years ago. And asking him if he was interested in selling his place. And it was from all that. So anyway, I just thought I'd bring that up.
Well, you maintain front of mind presence. That's the key, So people,
but it's like all this time later, right? It's just kind of funny too.
It is. Yeah.
So anyway, I'm working on that. Yeah, I'm working on that now.
Okay. I'm gonna jump ahead just a wee bit. So, and then we'll go back to the critical part about, having the buyers and how do you work with them and their state of mind to be willing to do this. Oops, hang on 1 second. AVG's, do something there, but going forward, let's say that your buyer does go to look at you get it under contract, the buyer goes look at it and says, yeah, actually, you know what, that's not what I thought it was. I'm not really interested, you know. Do you give up and walk away, or do you look at the seller and say, look, that's just one person, you know, he or she obviously wasn't exactly what they were hoping it was going to be, but I'm pretty sure somebody else is going to be out there, you know. Why not? Let's do this the right way. Okay, let's put it out there on the system. So I'm not the only agent promoting your property. Now all 5,000, 10,000, whatever you are, agents in the area now are sending that out to their clients. The whole world sees it. And not only that, my broker shares it with all the other brokers. So all those brokers and all those agents, they're all seeing it and they're all sharing it. Now you've got potentially hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people seeing your property. Don't you think it's going to be easier to get a buyer out of 1 million people than it is to get a buyer out of one person, right? Plus, not only that, this is something I know for a fact because I've been involved in this from the buyer standpoint, especially with investors. If a buyer knows the property is not advertised for sale, they know they're the only game in town right now for that seller. They're the only one interested in looking at that property. They'll negotiate till the cows come home and wear the seller down, right? To the lowest possible number. On the other hand, I could put it out there where more people are coming through the house, viewing it, more people are making offers, you get competing offers. What does that do to the price of a property? It drives it up. It is in your best interest to sell your house for the most money. And by the way, which techniques are going to be faster? Clearly, putting it out there to the world to see, because now it creates urgency and scarcity, right? So that's the dialogue you have. You might not want to say it exactly how I tend to get kind of intense sometimes in my speaking, but you know, that's the message you want to convey to them, because it's the truth. You know, I mean, our job is to help them sell their darn property the fastest way we can and for the most money. And you know, doing it one-on-one, that's a difficult way to do it, but it's a great way to get at somebody's attention. And by the way, you will sell properties like that. It's not going to be all of them, but you'll have some deals like that. And people will thank you for it. So in any case, everybody good on that. Remember, this is all recorded. You can you'll get the recording tomorrow. You can replay it, jot notes and things like that. But for right now, conceptually, does this make sense, guys? If you raise your hand or type yes in the chat box, or even shake your head, then I can see your head shaking up and down. Okay, cool. All right, now let's go back to the mindset of the buyer, because this is totally unorthodox. I mean, traditional consumers who are looking to buy or sell or buy their own home they're going to live in, this is totally foreign to them. They probably never heard of this before. So you got to be able to explain to them why it's necessary and how it works. So why it's necessary is inventory is tight. We know there's millions of houses, but they're not all for sale. And people are skittish. The market's uncertain. They don't know if it's going to keep going up. Is it going to go down? You know, I think it's going to keep inching up a little bit for the foreseeable future, probably in the next year. Now last year I was telling everybody, get ready because it's getting ready to hit. And like a lot of other people, just like in the early 2000s, it took another 5 years. So, but this is what I believe now. I believe it's going to be 2025. You're going to see the market's going to change. It's just going to happen. And, you know, we don't panic on this team. We prepare so that we can take advantage of it. That's when the opportunities pop up, right? The challenges. The last recession, for the folks that are new, that I owned a brokerage back then, we used these techniques. We did work with investors, and our business grew six-fold in those first 3 years of the recession. We were going the opposite way of everybody else. Everybody else lost half their agents, you know, not us. So in any case, we know what to do. We have all the techniques. Timing is critical. Like, you wouldn't normally use this technique we're talking about now unless inventory was tight. It's ideal for that scenario. So in any case, when you're speaking to your consumers, you make sure you tell them, say, the reason we use this technique now is because there's just not a lot out there on the system. And we've got to manually find these people. We got to find these owners by using our team systems to know who's more likely interested in selling. We know how much debt they have. We know if they pay their property taxes. You can tell them all this stuff, guys. You're not naming any names. You're just telling them about the systems that you have that give you a distinct advantage over the competitors. So you tell them, we know how to find these owners. You know, you just got to tell me what it is you're looking for. Is it a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom colonial, or is it a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom ranch? Does it need to be on the water? Does it have to have a mountain view? All those things you want to know, then you can search for those properties. All right. And before you make the offer, I wouldn't make multiple offers, by the way. I know I've had agents say, well, I'm going to write 10 different unsolicited offers. You can do that. I'm not going to say you can't do it, but just keep in mind, remember your reputations and everything. Let's say 2 or 3 of them respond and say, okay, we'll bring by, you know, your client, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, and you do, they only can buy one property, right? So what I'm getting at is that could backfire on you. Potentially you can do it. If you want to do it, absolutely, you'll probably get more business faster. But in any case, back to what I was saying a moment ago, when you find the properties on Really Flow, okay, you want to make sure you're on Zoom or on Google Meet, however you want to do it, is show them those properties. You can't show them in person because they're not actively listed for sale. You can only show them the pictures you have, right? From doing your online research. Okay. You can, when you find the properties, you can find them possibly in the MLS from a prior sale and use those pictures, or you can find them just by Googling them online and you'll see them in realtor.com and homes.com and Zillow and all that. So go to the properties to your buyer clients, let them pick the one that they want the most and go ahead and make that offer. And that's literally how you do it. That's pretty much the technique in a nutshell right there. So let's do a quick pause and see if we got any. Hey, Kay.
Okay.
Kay, do you have a question? Oh, she might have been talking to someone else. Maybe you can mute there. All right, guys, if you have a question, now is a good time to ask. I know it's a little bit of a crazy technique, but it absolutely works. And you know how Bonetta was saying they were sending letters, and we already have a team letter, but having a full-blown written offer complete with a photocopy of a hand money check and proof of funds, man, that's going to get people's attention. You know, now you can send it to them in the mail. It'll be a couple stamps because you got a full offer going in there, or you can take it by the property. All right, and don't door knock. I mean, you can if you want to. I just don't like it. I don't like the whole idea of door knocking on people's doors that we don't know. But you can hang it on their doorknob in a bag, right? That's what you can do. You can do that kind of thing. And you should probably go ahead and skip trace them to get their contact information. Here's, I'm going to do I keep forgetting to do this. The people in operations keep telling me I got to take pictures of our classes. So let's do this real quick. Everybody say cheese. Okay, thanks, guys. I've done my good deed for the day.
You could also take a screenshot.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna do that. It's a good idea, but for some reason they want selfies. I know Andre does it too, and I don't know if I can give you the answer why, but that's what they asked for, you know. So if I do a screenshot, it doesn't have me in it, you know. Well, actually, it does. Well, I just did a screenshot. Thanks, PF. Hey, PF, what you were saying, they're already selling eggnog up there in Massachusetts. Was that the one message you sent? Holy smokes,
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And then you were talking about Christmas parties. It's like, oh no, it's everywhere now. I thought it was just a supermarket.
Yeah.
Well,
I gotta remember that because I love eggnog.
Saturday, I saw Christmas trees. They already got their Christmas already up in Costco's. I'm like, we're in September.
We haven't even had October yet.
It's all about the money.
We already got Christmas trees and the wreath and the presents and all of that. I was like, really? Okay.
Crazy.
Halloween yet.
Okay, let's do this. Hey, any questions on unsolicited offers, guys?
Yeah, Gary, this is Michael. I've got a question for you. So I'm
Yep.
overthinking it. What do you think? Like my sales contract here is 11 pages, just the sales contract. Would you ever do a letter of intent or QR codes, a Google Drive, or how do you make it generic enough that you're not mailing, you know, a $2-3 mailer or something?
You could do a letter of intent. Remember, Bonetta just did a letter. And Bonetta, it was just a simple, like a regular one-page letter, I guess.
Let me add to what he just said. I also put a QR code in there. I did a video
Did you? Oh, okay.
of the QR code and I put it in the letter so they can see I'm a real realtor, I'm a real person, and I'm talking about a real client, and this is no bull. So they can, I encourage them to click on that QR code and look at the video, like a 30-second, 1-minute video. And I'm explaining, this is not a scam. I'm a real person. And the lady called me back, whether she told me she wanted to sell or not, I got a response. That's a win for me.
Yeah.
That's a win.
Yeah.
So that was encouraging enough to do it again, because if I get, because I'm going to send it out again. So this time I send it out as the realtor, but the next time I'm going to send it out as my client. So, it works.
I'll tell you,
it really works.
yeah, I'll tell you what, guys, and Mike, if you want to try a different version of it, absolutely. Philosophically, I'm always one that encourages people to learn the technique, use the technique the way it's taught first, like this, just like with systems, whether you're in the military or business or sports, you learn the system. Like in football, player comes in, you learn the system first, then they figure out how to improvise, adapt, and be creative and innovative. But I don't ever want to put out anybody's fire. We're all entrepreneurs here, and you've already got that entrepreneurial gene inside you, creative gene. If you can think of an alternative that would be less costly in time and energy and money, absolutely, I'd say try it out, man. So does that help, Mike?
Yeah, and if Beverly could include your wording on what the buyer reserves regarding touring the property and inspections.
Okay, we can do that. I'll make sure I let her know. Sugar will do it for us. So we'll transcribe it. So thanks. Hey guys, before it gets too late, it's about 12 after, and I wanted to have Trevor talk a little bit about making it rain and using Google AdWords. So Trevor, if you want to just talk through it, that's great. I can even promote you or Andre, and you can, if you have something you need to share on your screen too, if something pops up you want to share, just speak up. And in fact, I'll go ahead and promote you now just in case.
I don't have anything to share today.
Okay.
But let's back up just a step. Any lead source that we pay for or generate or whatever, God, including our friends and family, you got to be on it. You got to jump fast. Okay. So that's all I'm going to say is, no matter if you're paying for Zillow, if you're paying for Google or Facebook or whatever, tailor your ads and how much you spend and such to your availability. If you can't pick up that phone right away, or like everything I have sets up to call me, boom, a text goes out and it calls me. Okay.
Responses how many responses do you get back from that? Because I pay for realtor.com leads. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get out of them, but I've gotten like 5 leads. I have where it sends out a text and an email automatically, and then the second I get that lead, I go in my room and I call them, but they never answer the phone. Never, not one of them have answered the phone.
Okay. Realtor leads would definitely be different than Google AdWords that you get through Make It Rain, because
so I feel
we
like
studied that before.
Passively acting and there's actively acting, right? Meaning there's levels of hand raising that people do. And so like my Google ads, so when I started my Google ads, I was doing Make It Rain, so through our program, right? And what I noticed, excuse me, I apologize. What I noticed is that the leads were so much higher in value, and that there was they would usually be about 1 to 3 months out. They weren't like immediately, hey, I'm looking right now. But a lot of them were people transferring. So there's 2 caveats to that. One is you got to make sure they don't have to use a reload company. I found that out the hard way a couple of times. Find that out, because if that's the case, either you can't help them, so move on, or you're going to give up about 68% of your commission after you give up to Gary and EXP. Okay. So you're basically working for free. The other thing is, you know, so I moved from Texas to Oklahoma. And so, and me being a visual person, it's really easy for me to walk people through things and to connect with them real fast and be like, hey, I got you. I moved from Oklahoma to Oklahoma from Texas. And I remember how stressful that was. I'm going to take all that out. What are you looking for? What do you like to do? What do you like to do for fun? I'll pick out the whole area and everything. By the time you get up here, we'll have all the houses to check out. Or if you want, I can go do, I've sold a bunch of them. That's true. I sold a bunch of homes through Making It Rain, sight unseen. So that was awesome. You know, you got to come across as very authoritative and that you really, really know your market. Send them some things of value. That's another thing, Brittany, is that, you know, especially with realtor.com ads and Zillow, you know, you got to remember that they're marketing to so many people. And so what I found was with the Google thing, you get them in your sphere first and quickly and grab onto them. Okay, there's two things on Google ads. One is why I like Google ads is because you can tailor them like nobody else. Problem with Facebook ads is Facebook and NRA got, oh, this is recorded. And NRA got together, NRA, listen to me. And AR got together and said that we were not doing things correctly in our advertising, if you will. We don't really have all those hindrances with the Google ads. So that's something to think about right there. Now, Gary, what I will say though is I think that our personal websites and websites in general are going the way of the dodo, and they've all dropped down greatly. And what I have found better success with and high-end success with is all my like the ClickFunnels things, those things where basically they're little mini websites within themselves that tailor as the person interacts. So like we had the guy talking about the chatbots the other night, right? 3 years ago, people hated chatbots. Would never, like as soon as the chatbot came in, nope, I'm not dealing with this. Now people love it because they're up late night. They know somebody's helping them kind of in the background and they're getting what they want without having to talk to somebody. So it's almost like because people know they're talking to a chatbot, they actually engage more now, you know, because they're not having a salesperson, you know, trying to hammer them and they're just late night doing their thing on their computer. But yeah, squeeze pages, things that bring up a higher level of engagement and saying, hey, I'm looking for help. You know, I mean, I had people still don't know that Zillow is just a third, second, first, you know, kind of advertising platform. And they're very expensive and they don't keep their leads exclusive no matter what they say. That's a lie. I've had that happen before with them. So I would personally stay away from Zillow. You know, but anyways, so yeah, so really tailor your marketing to how do you work. So one of the nice things about my Facebook ads is that we're doing like, you know, the stuff with Tim and his Facebook ads guru, and I actually have appointments set for me, and I love that. So, you know, I just go about my day and like, oh, look, tomorrow I got an appointment scheduled for 11 o'clock. And you connect your calendar. And I mean, honestly, Gary and everybody, if I were to say where's advertising going right now, that's where it's going. Anywhere where you can get in a squeeze page and get the chat bots going and have it working in the background. So hope that's helpful.
It does. And something else I want to bring up about like homes.com, Zillow.com, and realtor.com. They all use the same type of mechanism to attract consumers. And what they're doing is it's called scraping data. They're data aggregators. So while you and I have to pay for MLS, right? And by the way, whose data is on the MLS?
Our data.
Our data.
Yes.
We're the one putting the listings on there. We got to pay to put our listings on our MLS. And because of what happened with NAR and realtor.com years ago, we we lost some leverage and lost some rights. We can fight back by simply not playing their game. But all they're doing is they're taking our data and putting it out there, and they use certain algorithms to attract consumers. Like it's all psychology. You know, like again, if you show an example of a flip, people are going to love it. If you show an example of a rental, people are going to be like, "Yeah, so what?" You know, but we know rentals make more money than flips long term. However, flipping is just psychologically more attractive. So that's what they do. They're good at attracting people, and they're feeding those people that are attracted to our data, our MLS, and feeding them back to us. That's what they're doing. They're doing what we should be doing. They're taking business, and it's our business, and charging you for it. Now take that, put that aside for a second. What Google Ads is doing is completely different, totally different mechanism, right? And by the way, who do you think is better at utilizing data to attract people? Would you say it's Zillow.com, or Google? Who's bigger? Google. They're the 800-pound gorilla, you know. So what Google's doing is it's more I don't want to say mechanical, but it's an algorithm that benefits you. And I'm not saying other people aren't going to benefit from the similar Google AdWords. They will. But when people reach out to you from Google AdWords, that's direct one-on-one. Unlike Zillow and Realtor and Homes, where there could be 5 or 6 agents getting the same exact feed, right? When you get something from Google AdWords, it's yours 100% exclusively. Okay. So that's a huge difference. And I like the Google algorithms better. I don't, you know, I'm not going to say that I understand. I know what they are, but I know the results. And by the way, Glenn Sanford has said more than one occasion, Glenn Sanford is a very technologically savvy person. He was in production just like all of us at one point. And he's told us a number of times, he said, if you're not using Google AdWords, you're missing out on one of the biggest, best and best profitable uses of your money. If you're going to pay for marketing like that, that's the way to go. So Trevor, do you have any idea what you spend on Google AdWords? Like, is there a way to measure?
Yeah, I should have put that in the chat. So I used to do so Making It Rain had different levels, and they were like kind of based on your commitment. If you did 500 a month, you could cancel at any time. Oh, what I want to say though is I would probably get away from the Making It Rain program and get somebody who is actually really well versed in Google Ads, because they are taking quite a chunk now. But what I wanted to speak to, and Gary, you brought it up, is, you know, Google's the 800-pound gorilla, right? Think about it. Every email gets searched and documented and put in a spreadsheet. And I mean, Google stores everything. So they have a huge leg up to help us. Yeah. I mean, they're great. So.
Yep. Okay.
That's what I had spent before, was about 500 a month on them.
Okay. And that's way cheaper. But I used to be in Zillow, guys, when it first came out. And this was when it wasn't so competitive, and the leads were good. And I was sharing a zip code with, I don't know how many other agents. I mean, you know, who knows how many, but I was spending $1,500 a month. Okay. Well, here, Google AdWords, you can do it for a third of that. And the ones you get, I mean, they're yours. You don't have to worry about other people seeing and getting the same thing, you know? So I would prefer everybody learn things from scratch and learn how to do your own marketing. It's harder, it takes longer, but what it does is it makes you independent, financially independent. Now you're in control of your own business and however much or little you do, right? Versus there's teams out there that they're called Zillow teams. They're Zillow Premier teams. And they're paid, you know, some of their budgets are in the tens of thousands of dollars a month. I know people in bigger markets like San Francisco, New York, that are spending, you know, 6 figures monthly on those Zillow leads. That's a huge budget. You know, that's a big giant chunk of your budget. So when we looked at it last year to see if number one, they were remembering, so the guy I used to work with was still there. But I said, look, I'm not in just one market. We're in, you know, 37 states and 100 different you know, MSAs. And they wanted the charges for each one. And it was minimum, I think the minimum was like $200,000 a month. It's just crazy. I mean, we could have a lot of success using that money to do your own marketing with the letters, the skip tracing, the unsolicited offers. You know, you put more energy into it, but you build a marketing machine that's going to last you forever once you build it. So in any case, that's my 2 cents worth on that. But of the things that you can pay for, my understanding, my belief is Google AdWords is probably one of the most cost effective and most certain ways to do it. So if you want to ever entertain that, you know, Trevor mentioned that it might be worthwhile to get somebody who specializes in that, as an expert in that field. And I'm not, you know, not knocking making it rain, but Trevor has experience with it. Okay. And I've never used making it rain. So in any case,
Gary,
any questions?
Juan has a question. How do you start with Google AdWords?
There is another, EXP has a separate thing for Google Ads now, if I recall, off their main enterprise page. So you can find like Making It Rain's on there too, but also Google AdWords, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I'll look it up while we're chatting here.
Yeah, see, go ahead and log in Enterprise if you don't mind, Trevor, and you can share your screen if you need to, but if it's in there, I think I do recall seeing that box, by the way. It's a separate box you can click on in your enterprise back office.
Oh, that's
so. All right. Hey, Andre, thanks for your help tonight, man. I appreciate it.
Hi, buddy. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
See you guys soon.
Okay. And Trevor, while you're doing it, I'm going to look and see if I missed any chats or questions here. Let's see. I paid. So Joanne says she paid Realty Store. None of the leads were was verified leads, so nothing came of it. Brittany got a call from them, didn't do it. That's good. There I sent him a lead who was ready to buy and sell, and he hasn't responded to my text. I think he's still on, Karen Nayor. Yeah, I just talked to him last week.
Okay, I've got it for you, Gary. And what I believe is they changed it.
Okay.
So I'll share this with y'all real quick.
Okay.
So let me go share. Oh, can you let me share?
Yep. Let's see here. Participants.
Says it's disabled.
Trevor, make co-host. There you go.
There you go. Okay. So if you go to the enterprise page, right on the top, it's right here. So right here on the right. If I'm not mistaken, when you're in KV Core, that's in another browser. So let's see if I can hopefully, can y'all see my KV Core? Did that change? Okay, good. Okay, in here, lead engine.
It's in Marketplace, I think.
Is it Marketplace? Okay. Yeah, where they have it is just, see, there's your Facebook, social leads, property boost. By the way, Gary mentioned earlier, it's just easier finding buyer leads. That's totally the case. I would never pay for seller leads personally. Done for you.
Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, they're just nobody ever responds. They're the worst ROI. So if I could give you any nuggets of wisdom, it's track your advertising dollars and how they're doing. Know what is working and know what isn't working. I mean, we hear so many. Oh, here's some Google stuff.
There it is, Google PPC.
Yep, there you go. So that's your that's straight up outside of Making It Rain. I don't know the difference. I can't speak to it.
If you go ahead and click on the Google PPC, scroll up just another line of boxes
right here.
There it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Show as the people actively searching real estate keywords. It started.
That's the other thing. The cost per lead with Google Ads is really cheap. Really cheap.
Okay.
And you just like we had ours. I mean, I was promoting areas of town, budgets, everything. Loved it. So it's just that my Making It Rain plan. Okay, so now these are starting at $750. So they've gone up a little bit. but they're highly targeted. They're not, I don't know. And it was funny because everybody I spoke to loved talking to me. Whereas when I did Zillow leads, it was like, oh, another agent. Because, they click to talk to an agent every time. All right.
Yep.
There we go. So anyways, hope that's helpful, everybody.
Yep. Thanks, Trevor. And by the way, guys, if you look at the chat box, Rob typed in a couple of links from Workplace. And yeah, Ben Weissman is and his Google SEO training. He's in EXP. There's also a YouTube channel. So in any case, I would, if you're going to spend money buying leads or paying for marketing that's not your own generated marketing, I mean, overall, the whole concept of Google AdWords has come up consistently the front runner. I would tell you there's probably gonna be some learning involved, and I've not done it, but I'll check with Ryan, who's on our operations team that supports us, see if he's done it. And maybe we could try it out. Maybe we can do like a beta test or guinea pig with someone. But at the end of the day, really what it comes down to is right now doing things like the unsolicited offer, using ReallyFlow, using that letter. I mean, Brittany Taylor's on tonight. She's got right now her first batch of letters. There's looks like she may potentially have a double ender, right? They're getting the listing and already having a buyer lined up too. Potentially, we're waiting to hear back from the seller now. So those things work. It's a lot cheaper than paying third parties, because remember, they've got to make profit too. You're paying them for their labor, right? The man hours, plus you got to pay for profit. So when you're first starting out, generally you trade your time and energy to save some money. Later on, when you have a bigger budget, you can invest more money in marketing and then save yourself some time and energy. So in any case, that's it for tonight, guys. We managed to get it in an hour and a half. Any final thoughts or questions before we go?
Yeah, Gary.
Yes, sir.
I attended the Going Big Mastermind with the Ben Wiseman and his son. And these guys are phenomenal. So,
okay,
if you could maybe have somebody reach out to him and see if he could do a Monday Night Live, or actually maybe a team mastermind.
Okay.
Okay.
Are they EXP?
Yes.
Okay. And
I just posted the Facebook group. I joined their
Okay.
Facebook mastermind group as well. And they actually offer 3 levels of training, and they even offer a do it for you kind of deal, where for X number of dollars a month, they'll set everything up and run it for you on Google, Google Ads, Google Local, which is really, coming up, and you figure, show me a real estate agent in my area or real estate agents near me. You Google that stuff, and that's the Google local aspect of it. So it's really pretty phenomenal.
Who is that again, may I ask? I'm sorry, who does that?
Ben Weissman.
Oh, okay.
He's got a company, Going Big. What's it called? Going Big with Real Estate or something. Let me see, I just had it here. Going Big by Going Local. And then Going Big in Real Estate. So that Facebook link there in the chat box. Just click on all those links there and just bookmark them or just review them, because they'll open up in a separate tab on your browser when you do that. So gotta go through them and look at it, reach out to them. It's really good information.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sure.
And you can get started on Google My Business Local for free. And also that is free. Like, you'll have people call you and say, yeah, we've read about your company and we're going to give you a discount, blah, blah, blah. No, you don't need to do that.
Yeah, they show you how to do it. They show you how to set up your actual Google page. Because everybody that basically uses a Google product, or even if you don't, I believe you can set up a Google page. And that's where it's all at. That's where it's all going right now. And Trevor, I'm sure you can speak to that as well.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. Good stuff, guys. All right, and by the way, I really appreciate everybody sharing. Trevor, Rob, everybody participating, asking questions, Brittany and Vanetta sharing, and we, I appreciate the guests being here, and I apologize. I think Kathy was you that had Sonia on, and I didn't in the early part of the class. I recognized the one guy who was on. He was already been promoted, so I could see his picture. But off to the side, the people who were still not promoted or didn't let themselves be promoted, I didn't recognize. I just didn't see that they were out there. Sonia was one of them, and I think there was one more. So please pass on to me my appreciation for them being in class. And guys, make sure on Wednesday night, we got a lot to cover. So that's our monthly team meeting. And again, 7 p.m. and Beverly's put emails out. It's on the workplace page if you haven't registered. We are going to go over agent attraction because it's a we don't have guests on that session. That's just everybody that's inside the team, inside EXP. So we're going to talk about we're going to talk about a few things. We'll go over some housekeeping first. Then we're going to talk about what do you do when someone actually reaches out to you about the team and or EXP. So we're going to do that second part first, because we already have about 20 people actively engaged with, agent attractions. They're bringing, Rob just looks like he's got his second person from his first ad, 20 applicants, and 2 out of 20, that's pretty darn good. And there's some others that may come in later.
And Gary, I just started the new ad right before our session today.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I have 8 active applicants since 11 o'clock today.
Amazing. Yep. This stuff's working, guys. When we rolled it out, the first 4 people to use it, this is going back 2 weeks ago now, all 4 of them brought in somebody in 1 week, 4 out of 4. So, and we're going to go over the second part of class is the first part of the process, which is setting up Indeed and getting over the hurdles. Some of you have had the declines, and we did multiple times, and most everybody does. I don't think anybody has not been declined. And the key is to call them. That's what we're finding out. Emails, it's a crapshoot. You're better off just flat out, just call them. Don't even just call them. I promise you'll get better results. We're gonna go over all that. So that's Wednesday night, and the goal is 32 people indicated they were interested in doing this, and so far about 2/3 are up and running to some degree. So we want to close the gap, get everybody who wants to do it up and running and doing it correctly and consistently. Once you get it up and running and you're working it, it's you're going to be pleasantly surprised at how fast it is and how good it is. Doesn't take a lot of time. So in any case, keep that in mind. We'll see you Wednesday night, and please set up your one-on-ones if you haven't had one for a while. Please set up a one-on-one. There's time out there. Look, there's lots of space next week, and even some time slots still this week. So, and Tom, thanks again for joining us, Tom Wall. We're always glad to see you, man. Hopefully your mom's okay. So, yep. Well, there he is. There's Tom. So we got several of us, Tom, in the same boat in the group right now. Same exact thing we're dealing with, and part of life. And to me, it's an honor and a privilege to be able to help our parents out. So, okay, guys, hope you have a wonderful rest of the night, a good rest of the week. We'll see you Wednesday night. I'll see you on the one-on-ones. Keep swinging the bat. Remember, if you're ever in doubt about what to do, pick up the phone and call somebody in your sphere. Can't go wrong doing that. And better yet, call me and I'll give you something to do. Okay. Okay, guys, have a good night.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching this episode of Monday Night Live. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and go to realestatewithgarywilson.com to join our community and start building wealth today.